Hello everyone, this is The Last Word and I'm Maria Shakil. Lok Sabha today witnessed a heated discussion on Waqf Amendment Bill. Congress MP Gaurav Gogoi launched a fierce counter-attack after Minority Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju tabled the Waqf Amendment Bill, accusing the BJP-led government of trying to defame, disenfranchise minorities and staging a 4D assault on the Constitution. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, while participating in the debate, presented a long list of properties that he said were given for Waqf. The list included land belonging to temples, other religions, the government and others. His point was, you cannot donate someone else's property, you donate something which is yours. Citing examples, Mr. Shah said that the Karnataka High Court had to stop grabbing of 602 square kilometers by Waqf. Mr. Shah blamed the UPA government for the situation, saying that the Waqf rules were changed days before the 2014 general elections. Let's listen in to all the political reactions that have come in, and then I bring in the experts.
पहले तो वक्त में कोई गैर इस्लामिक सदस्य आएगा ही नहीं, ये स्पष्टता समझ लीजिए। ना मुतवल्ली गैर इस्लामिक होगा, ना वाकिफ गैर इस्लामिक होगा। मान्यवर, वहां कोई प्रोविजन नहीं है। जो धार्मिक संस्थाओं का संचालन करते हैं उसमें कोई गैर मुस्लिम व्यक्ति रखने का प्रावधान किया भी नहीं है, हम करना भी नहीं चाहते हैं। मान्यवर,
ये कानून प्रोस्पेक्टिव है, रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव नहीं है। ये आप लोग बहुत क्लियर से सुन लीजिए, ये किसी का जमीन छीनने का कानून नहीं है। ये किसी का राइट, किसी का हनन करके उसका प्रॉपर्टी को हड़पने का नहीं है। सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल जब लाया गया था, वही लोग हैं जिन्होंने कहा था कि सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल पास होकर एक्ट बन जाएगा तो मुसलमानों का हक छिन जाएगा, उनका नागरिकता खत्म हो जाएगा। आज सीए लागू हो गया, बताइए किसी मुसलमान का अधिकार छीना है?
1947 में भारत ने एक विभाजन देखा है, वो एक परिवार और एक पार्टी के कारण वो विभाजन हुआ है। आज जमीन जिहाद, लैंड जिहाद के नाम पर हम दूसरा विभाजन नहीं होने देंगे, नहीं होने देंगे। एक स्पष्ट संदेश तो यहां पर देना ही चाहते हैं कि मोदी जी के राज में भारत में एक कानून, एक संविधान और एक भारत रहेगा।
देश की उन्नति के लिए नए वक्त के साथ चलना होगा। देश के उन्नति के लिए नए वक्त के साथ चलना होगा और मुसलमान भाइयों और बहनों की तरक्की के लिए नए वक्फ के साथ आगे बढ़ना होगा।
पहले तो
इस बिल के द्वारा 4 इनके मूल उद्देश्य कि संविधान को कमजोर करना, टू डाइल्यूट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। इनका दूसरा उद्देश्य है भ्रम फैलाना, टू डिफेम द माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटीज ऑफ इंडिया। इनका तीसरा उद्देश्य है टू डिवाइड द इंडियन सोसाइटी, डाइल्यूट, डिफेम, डिवाइड। और चौथा इनका उद्देश्य है टू डिसएनफ्रेंचाइज द माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटीज।
वक्फ बिल का लाना भाजपा की सियासी हट है। वक्फ बिल के पीछे की न तो नीति सही है, न नीयत।
This is a clear attempt on the part of the bill to curtail the right of the Muslims in our country. ये ठीक नहीं है। मैडम, हिंदू या मुस्लिम का हसद मत छेड़िए, अपनी कुर्सी के लिए जज्बात को मत छेड़िए। छेड़िए एक जंग मिलजुल कर गरीबी के खिलाफ। दोस्त मेरे, मजामी लकबत में मत छेड़िए।
I dare to charge the government that this parliament is being used as a mere ventilating chamber and it has been undermined. It is nothing but an unpardonable onslaught on the constitution religion.
Let me bring in Professor Faizan Mustafa, constitutional expert, Vice Chancellor of Chanakya National Law University and a leading scholar. Professor Mustafa, the question is, we have seen a very passionate discussion in the Lok Sabha. The bill is yet to be passed by the Lok Sabha, but it will be because the government has the numbers. But the best part was that the parliament witnessed discussion rather than disruption and walkouts. The opposition says that this bill is for defaming and disenfranchising minorities. That is what the BJP-led government is doing. The government says that you cannot donate someone else's property, you donate something which is yours. I want to understand from you, sir, what exactly is the truth of the Waqf Amendment Bill?
Probably both are too general and too sweeping statements. Nobody can create a waqf of a property which does not belong to him. Only an owner can create a waqf. There is some truth that as we live in the post-truth era, there are many myths which have been perpetuated through what is said to be the WhatsApp University, and many, high-profile politicians, also believe that narrative, that Waqf board can declare any property as a Waqf property. Now, this is not true. What is a Waqf board in the first place? Waqf board is a government agency. Its chairman, most of its members are nominated by the government. They are Supreme Court, High Court judges. They are civil servants. They are members of parliament. Waqf board is not a private body of Muslim clergy. We must understand it is a state. It is a government within the meaning of Article 12. Who appoints the chief executive officer of the Waqf board, who has all the executive power? Government. Who are the survey commissioners who do the survey? Government servants, public servants. On the recommendation of survey commissioners, Waqf board makes a recommendation to the state government. State government publishes in the official state gazette that X property is a Waqf property. So it is not like that I can declare any property as Waqf property. Okay. To say that the Waqf bill is intended to disenfranchise Muslims, I think is again absolutely off the mark and too sweeping a statement, just like the statement from one of the minister that there is a love jihad going on. We are using these terms so casually that it does not look good in a mature democracy. We are using for everything, love jihad and UPSC jihad and flood jihad. I think this is not right for anybody to indulge in such loose talk.
Okay.
Parliament has a power to pass a law on Waqf. They have earlier also passed a law in 1954, then in 1995, then in 2013. As a legal academic, I look at any law from positive features of that law and what can be the criticism of that law. Because any law in a constitutional democracy can be debated by people who are the ultimate sovereign. So if people criticize the bill, they have a right under the constitution to criticize it. The option to them is to go to the court of law, and ultimately the court would see whether this law is consistent with fundamental rights. Is it constitutional? There are some provisions in the bill which look good, like the diversity, inclusion of non-Muslims, inclusion of women, inclusion of OBC, saying that the Waqf tribunal will now be headed by a senior judge, district judge, to say that the Waqf tribunal will decide the case within 6 months is a good provision. So there are some positive provisions in the bill. There are some problematic provisions in the bill, like the abolition of Waqf by user, like giving of the power of the survey commissioner to already overburdened district magistrate. The big criticism of the bill is that if you are saying you are passing this law to improve the efficiency of management and administration of the Waqf. Then who is the regulator of Waqf? It is the Waqf board. You are reducing the powers of the Waqf board. What is the adjudicatory authority in matters of Waqf? Waqf tribunal. You are reducing the powers of the Waqf tribunal. How will you achieve your stated goal of improving the administration of Waqf? I am unable to see that the laudable object of efficiency, administration, management, big words, they are not reflected in the main provisions of the bill.
Okay. Professor Mustafa, one of the points which has become a point of huge contention, and perhaps you will be able to reflect on this better, is that the composition of this board, which will have non-Muslims as part of it, while women is a welcome move, an entry of a woman, but why have people from outside the community? Is the objection coming in from several MPs in the opposition and also from members of the community?
You see, I had welcomed this provision because the diversity of in all institutions, charitable properties. Article 26 of our constitution gives just denomination of properties and to manage them. Belong to that, are we violating eventually be examined? Okay. This is composed of the virus. The real problem is the non-democratic character of the board. Almost entire the government. Out that there is corruption in the Waqf board. Should all board chief executive officer of the board is on the Waqf tribunal, our commissioners are not, can't be corrupt. You have to know, don't we have corruption in government? There are cases of alleged corruption even by the judges. How it is. If you want to tackle, empower Waqf board, give more powers to the regulator of Waqf. Empower the Waqf tribunals, which is going to adjudicate matters about Waqf. You can't be arguing one and same time that we will reduce the powers of the Waqf board. We will reduce the powers of the tribunal, and there will be efficient administration of the Waqf, and they will do a better job. How can they do a better job?
Okay. Okay. Professor Mustafa, my last question to you, and this is of course with regards to the narrative which has been, will ensure that land grabbing is stopped, that the bill is essentially to protect property. There is an ASI property which has been taken over by Waqf, private property.
Of the civil code, they will look at all the documents, then they will make a recommendation to the Waqf board, which is largely a government body. The recommendation of the Waqf board, the government will declare by publishing it. And therefore, this whole narrative is false. That some property, suddenly some belongs to Waqf. If somebody, that this house belongs, but such cases are, absolutely rare. And if there is a corruption, we must deal with corruption. If Waqf board has committed any wrong, we must correct it.
All right, for now the politician, Pragya, that is there some kind of fear mongering or selective presence of truth which is being done by the opposition? Waqf board has not been functioning properly, and if the intent of the government is some kind of transparency or administrative correctness, then why shouldn't this bill be supported? Although you have opposed it, so that's fine enough. But the part is that this opposition should not really translate into street fights.
Maria, this is a deliberate intrusion into the affairs of the Muslim community. And this has now become institutionalized over the past 11 years. Point number one. Point number two, I think it's quite evident hearing some of the BJP members of parliament that they don't understand what the concept of Waqf is. A Waqf is a form of religious charity. This is not public property. A believer dedicates his ancestral or self-acquired Point number two. Point number three, let me come to the critique of the amendment. Firstly, you omit section 40 of the Waqf Act. What does this mean? Now the collector and the state administration will decide whether a certain property is Waqf property or government land. Number one. Number two, I belong to the Sikh community. We have the SGPC as our highest temporal body. The SGPC comprises of members of the Sikh community. Why is it that the government wants to intrude non-Muslims into the functioning of the Waqf board? Is the government's intention to extend this provision of bringing persons from other religions also vis-a-vis other religious denominations? I fail to understand. Article 26 of our constitution, which is part 3 of our constitution, very categorically says that every religious denomination will be empowered to run its affairs in consonance with their scriptures. Why is this assault as far as the Muslim community is concerned? Number 4, when you talk about encroachment of Waqf land or you talk about mismanagement, there are umpteen government and other statutory bodies where there is mismanagement. Does that mean you abolish those bodies? No. The problem today here is that there is a certain background politics to this enactment. And that politics is BJP's antithetical and deliberate hatred for the minorities. And this is a manifestation of that hatred.
The point that has been made by Amit Shah, perhaps you'll be able to respond to this as well, that you wanted some changes to be made to this bill because you realized that you were going out of power. And you went ahead and you did it.
You know, the problem is, again, you come out with not you per se, but the government comes out with half-baked information. Let me give you another example. If the intention of the government was so benign and noble, when you say that this is an amendment
just before
which
2014 general elections, were there changes made to the Waqf rules or not?
No, so that means the parliament or the government should not make changes 1 year before the elections. That means any changes made by Mr. Vajpayee in 2013 should be seen with a jaundiced eye. What sort of an argument is that? When you're in government in continuum. You make changes in the house. So when the BJP goes out of power, suspended animation in 28. Come on, let's be serious. You continue to make laws and you continue to make rules till the last day you're in government, as per your wisdom and in consonance to your promises and the constitutional ideals. If they had any problem with any such rule or legislation, they should have challenged it before a court of law when they were in the opposition. They don't do so. Today, this is actually a bill, an amendment, Maria, which will increase administrative interference. Today, the collector has become the de facto custodian of Waqf property. This is the problem. And this is how they, using these machinations, will continue to improve and snatching in Waqf land.
Let me bring in Charu Pragya now. Charu Pragya, you know, you will be responding to, of course, what Adil has said. But my question is also that if there is an attempt being made by a government to defame a community, as Gaurav Gogoi said on the floor of the House in that very, very passionate response, there has to be a counter which has to come from the opposition, which they are doing.
So I heard exactly what Gaurav Gogoi said, and I really don't understand the point he was trying to make. He said the constitution is being diluted. How exactly is it being diluted? Now, you can make an amendment in the Waqf Act that is completely constitutional, but when another government does it, you call it unconstitutional. Let me not focus on what he was trying to say, but clarify certain very important changes that we are introducing. One, it is constitutional. It is being passed by this parliament. Like you passed the amendment when you thought that was the right thing to do, which was basically a bit of appeasement happening. Second thing, nobody is taking away any land that belongs to any masjid, any dargah, anything which is already established Waqf property. So you stop spreading that propaganda and stop spreading those lies. Thirdly, one very important introduction, and Amit Shah ji spoke about this on the floor of the House today. Donate what belongs to you. You want to give a donation to Waqf? Please do it, but don't donate your neighbor's land, which has been happening for a very long time. Discussions about land being grabbed by Waqf have been rampant. In fact, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge ji has spoken about it in the past. Lalu Prasad Yadav ji has spoken about it in the past. That is what we are trying to stop. We have to remember, when you have a right to go to court, it's a two-way right now. It is a two-way right. Earlier, if the tribunal agreed with something, great. But if it didn't, there was no legal. How is that fair, and how could you be propagating that? Another very important thing is you didn't want audit up till now. We're introducing audit. That's transparency. Shouldn't you be happier about it? You talk about taking away from the Muslim community. I actually think about it in a way where we are showing people that more representation needed to be added. What about the Bohras? What about the Aga Khanis, the Pasmandas, women? We have made sure these inclusions happen now. Another very important issue, and again they're spreading propaganda. Waqf remains Muslim, entirely Mutwali Muslim, Waqif Muslim. Nobody is interfering there. But the Waqf board has been established to be a statutory body. It's a government agency. Courts have ruled that time and time again in our country. Kerala High Court being a recent example. So if something is a statutory body in a secular country, you want to divide it up on the lines of religion. This is not a religious reform, Maria. This is the land reform. This is a reform for property. And it was very much needed because we had arbitrary people turning up.
Saying that each and every member of the board is nominated by the government. If there is corruption in the board, then what was the government of the day doing? In the sense that if there is land grabbing which has happened in a particular state, then what was the state government doing?
Exactly. So if there were issues and multiple states had these issues, Chandrababu Naidu ji, in fact, when he formed government, first thing he did was he dismissed the Waqf board, made a new one. So these are things which need to be identified and fixed. And if it's being fixed in a constitutional way, by way of a permanent reform, I think every single person needs to welcome that. Let me make one more very important point here. You know how much land is owned by Waqf in India? 10 lakh acres, 10 lakh acres. But there are no schools, there are no coaching institutions, no home for widows. In fact, no pension being given to the widows, nothing. What was being done instead? Example, 12,000 rupees was the amount taken to sell a piece of land to a 5-star hotel. Now tell me, how is this for the betterment of society? How is this uplifting the Muslim community? What about the children who could have been studying there? What about, the older people who could have been getting treated in a hospital there? Here we are setting up a system which is going to take care of all of this. And I want to pointedly ask Gaurav Gogoi or his party person right now, tell me, how is this dividing society? We are uniting society. In fact, we are saying give representation to all kinds of Muslims. Make sure the poor people are not taken away from their lands, because you are donating random lands. The entire villages have been declared to be Waqf land. And by what right? And Waqf is not responsible. They are not supposed to show any papers. Maria, this is one step further for
I've
this
just
brigade,
time
which
for
always
Adil
talked about Kagaz.
Adil, go ahead.
No, I'm so disheartened that how do you enlighten somebody or a party which is so misinformed, either deliberately or unwittingly? Number one, Waqf land can never be sold. Point number one. Point number two, there are thousands of orphanages, schools and hospitals which are being run on Waqf land or funds generated by the Waqf. My friend is completely wrong in this.
No. I will give you data there.
Let me complete.
Please continue, but I'll come back to this.
Number three, let me tell you. Is the BJP also agreeable to involve non-Hindus or non-Sikhs into bodies which are exclusively run by Hindu or Sikh bodies or Christian bodies? Let's say there is a church, or let's say there is a Gurdwara, or let's say there is a Hindu temple. Will the BJP be agreeable, or will they also through state legislation allow for people from different communities to be inducted into the management of these affairs? I think the BJP needs to come clear on this. Number three, the larger issue. When you allow the collector of the district to become the final arbiter to decide whether a certain property is Waqf property or not, is problematic. You allow a judicial tribunal to decide that. We have no problem with this. Let a court of law decide whether a certain property is Waqf land or not. Do not leave it to a collector who's under the thumb of the chief minister to decide whether a certain property is Waqf land or not. You are abridging and even snatching away judicial power. And lastly, Article 26, I urge my friend, I'm sure she has a cell phone in front of her, to type in Article 26 of the Constitution. That very emphatically says that every religious denomination has full autonomy to run its affairs in the manner as it deems fit and as per its religious beliefs. This extends to religious denomination and sects.
All right.
So please do not mislead.
I can respond.
All right. No, I've really come to the end of this discussion. Adil and Charu, thank you so much
it's important
for joining us.
Point.
And keeping with the old tradition of Parliament where there was good banter. We have seen it in the past. We saw it play out today between Akhilesh Yadav and Home Minister Amit Shah. Very pleasant scene, but do watch this special package.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अंदर मुकाबला चल रहा है कि खराब हिंदू कौन बड़ा है। और ये बात अध्यक्ष महोदय मैं ऐसे ही नहीं कह रहा हूं। जो पार्टी ये कहती हो कि दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी है, अध्यक्ष महोदय वो अपना राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष नहीं चुन पाए अभी तक। अध्यक्ष महोदय भारतीय जनता पार्टी क्या है?
जी मैं अखिलेश जी ने बहुत हंसते हंसते कहा है, इसको हंसते हंसते जवाब देना। ये सामने जितनी पार्टियां हैं उनका राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष उन 5 लोगों को ही चुनना है परिवार के। हमें माननीय अध्यक्ष जी करोड़ों सदस्यों में से 12-13 करोड़ सदस्य प्रक्रिया कर कर चुनना है तो देर लगती है। आपके यहां जरा भी देर नहीं लगेगी। मैं कह देता हूं अभी 25 साल तक आप अध्यक्ष हो जाओ, नहीं बदल सकता।
अध्यक्ष महोदय क्योंकि जो बात निकल के आई है वो मैं फिर आगे बढ़ा दूं। अध्यक्ष महोदय जो बात सोशल मीडिया या और जगह गुपचुप हो रही है, कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं था कि अभी कुछ दिन पहले यात्रा जो हुई है वो कहीं 75 वर्ष की एक्सटेंशन वाली यात्रा तो नहीं थी।